As I run two writers groups, and I'm inspired by the many writers in my groups who write in all genre. That's noir, memoir, horror, romance. So I like trying my hand and keyboard at the genre that I wouldn't normally write. Sometimes it's hard to choose between them. So thank you for hanging to the end, and I hope I make it worth your effort. This is called Crazy Love. What a great headline, she thought. To the handsome EMT in Starbucks on Sunday, save me. She loved the postings in the Craigslist missed connection listings, peering into strangers' lives. She read the words on the screen. You saw me struggling to balance my purse, my double-shot latte and berry muffin. You smiled and paid for my food, touched my hand, and talked about paying it forward. You quoted Thoreau. The language of friendship is not words, but meanings. How could you possibly have known that he's my favorite writer? For the first time, words failed me. In my head, we sat, talked, laughed, and I gave you my phone number. In reality, I only nodded and watched you walk out the door. Could we try a repeat with a different outcome? Ellen could picture it all. She imagined the EMT's wavy brown hair, smelled the mix of coffees in the air, and even tasted the foam off her upper lip. Most of all, she could feel her heart racing faster, butterflies in her stomach, and something special being reawakened inside. More than anything, she wished that had been her experience. Then her mind raced forward to what would happen if the man actually saw the posting. How would he? Maybe he would have been on Craigslist creating his own posting because the connection he had also felt. Maybe he had been in a rush, called away by an emergency to save someone's life. Maybe he had wanted to say more, but hadn't had the time. He might be looking for her too. And when they finally did connect, it would certainly be sparks. Sexual tension would fill the air. How could it not? The attention would be palpable to everyone. They would see how the two fit together like pieces of a puzzle long thought lost and finally found. Of course, there might be problems. In her fluster, perhaps she hadn't noticed the ring he was wearing, marking him as taken. But the fact that he was even looking in the missed connections was evidence that his current commitment was unstable, that he was open to something more, something better. Their chance meeting might result in, but no, it wouldn't be chance. It would be fate for both of them. They would fall hopelessly in love and live the rest of their days together. She read the ad again and then a third time. This was the most romantic thing she had ever read. She could only hope that the author and the handsome EMT would meet again and that their love would blossom. She sighed with a smile and clicked OK, which brought up a disclosure, one that only those posting a message ever see. It described the liability of the person posting such messages, disavowing any liability for responsibility of damages. She clicked OK to that as well, authorizing the system to publish her ad. Then she closed the lid of the laptop, switched off the small desk lamp, and threw a towel over her shoulder. Smiling, she walked through the dark hall back to her bedroom. She heard the loud and uneven snores of her husband before entering the room. A thin vertical line of light shining through the opening of the bathroom door shined her way. She reached into her gown and retrieved an object which reflected a bright spot on the wall. She lowered the tiny chrome iPod so that the light bouncing from it wouldn't wake him, touched the cord back to the earbuds, and placed them carefully into her ears. She chose her Killer Love Songs playlist. Then quietly, she bent over her husband, tenderly kissed him on the cheek, covered him with a sheet that he had kicked off during his sleep. Then she reached into the other gown pocket and in a single motion raised her hand above her head and brought the kitchen carving knife down through the sheet and into her chest. He woke suddenly and struggled as she twisted the knife left to right, then right to left with all the weight her little body could manage. Even in the darkness, she could see the sheet darken as his life's blood flowed from his body. Only after his struggling ceased and the next song started, she pulled the knife out and wrapped it in the towel. Humming to the music, she made her way back to the guest room, also dark, and she fluffed her pillows. Suddenly, the enormity of what she had done sunk in. How would she explain the body? She thought of slicing the body into small pieces and throwing them out with the garbage. Too messy and honestly, too much work. The ground was far too frozen to dig a hole and bury him. She thought some more. Then she smiled and reached for the phone. Her fingers pressed the numbers 911 and she waited patiently for the voice to appear at the other end. Help, help, she half whispered, inflecting a non-existent fear into her voice. There's someone here. My husband has been stabbed. He's bleeding. Send an EMT. She rattled off her name and address and clicked the phone off. She walked to the bathroom, looking in the mirror. She applied fresh makeup and brushed her hair. Then she went to the kitchen and put out a plate of cookies, the good Pepperidge Farm ones. After all, if she was lucky, maybe they would send her new boyfriend. He might be hungry.